All right, and welcome back, Sideliners. Welcome back to your official park podcast of Hitting the Hardcourt. Your host, JT, the man that be, aka Apollo, aka Mr. Foresight, aka Skyhook from the 3 point line. And today we have one of our best, one of our old heads, as the youngins would like to say. Fonz, say what's up to the
Yo,
listeners.
what up? I don't have a nickname prepared, so yeah, I don't have like three or four nicknames.
Hey, no one can call me by one name. You haven't gotten to that level yet to
I
address me
know.
by my given name. No, it's
God,
good to have an old face back on board. How are things hanging out back on campus?
pretty good. Finally enjoying my classes, so that's good.
So,
College,
college, the
college.
the place where they take your money and teach you nothing.
I'm not saying anything.
Trying to
just,
maintain that scholarship.
just in case my parents come across this. My mouth shut.
Well, for those of you that have been tuning in, there has been absolutely no drama coming from Fonz's favorite team, the Warriors. In fact, we're going to switch gears, and we're probably not even going to touch on anything in the West Coast today. What we did touch on, if you had tuned into recent podcasts, Jason Dunmore and myself, we were talking a bit about how LeBron was asking for, somewhat pleading for GM LeBron, saying that he needs more help. And LeBron has gotten some flack for said comments, mainly from TNT's broadcast. One of their very own Charles Barkley, who has been noted to have say a few things here and there against many players in the NBA. I don't want to say against, because we're going to get into that in a bit. But he has been known to, you could say, play devil's advocate. You could say he said some controversial things. He's been very critical. There's a whole list of descriptors that you can use for how Charles Barkley approaches how he's been talking about players, including LeBron. Which most notably, he said how disappointed he was in LeBron's approach in
Mhm.
in very few words, complaining about the status of things with his team. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because I think, from one point of view, I think you could say that he may be on point, but there's some, I mean, Fonz, I don't know how you feel about the situation. I know that you kind of have a better schedule now. You've been able to tune a little bit more into what's going on in the league. I mean, how do you feel
Mhm.
about where LeBron's coming from, and his, what was essentially a huge response to Charles Barkley's comments?
I mean, you come at the king, you better be prepared, right? Like LeBron is the best player in the league, and he's basically a lot of what Chuck said was, "Oh, you guys have the highest salary in the league, so why are you complaining, right?" But I feel like LeBron has a lot of reasons to complain because Jr. is injured, Kevin Love gets injured a lot, but especially this season, so he's working without two of his better teammates, and who's going to fill the void if they're not there? Kay Felder, Jordan McRae. I don't think so, and a lot of the guys on the roster are older, so Kyrie has 5 years experience, but Channing Frye 10, Cal Korver 13, Chris Anderson, Richard Jefferson 14, 15, James Jones 13, and so LeBron needs another playmaker, and he's also playing the most minutes in the league. I think like this guy is he's old. Like I mean, old in terms of like basketball age.
Th-
Uh,
This is true.
especially just in the sheer number of minutes that he's played. He's was a constant feature on the Olympic team for a long time. So just the sheer miles he has on his body, and now, basically Ty Lue is like, "Yo, just keep playing. We're not going to rest you." Like that's not. how I don't think LeBron wants, the end of his prime to be a guy who has to put in all the effort um, every single game. And don't forget, like for a lot of the preseason, people were like, "Oh, this may be the year that LeBron takes a step back and lets Kyrie take over the team," but it hasn't happened, right?
Well, that's a very interesting side of things, and a very good perspective to say, because I mean, you don't want to, when you're planning on going out and when you want to stay healthy from a player's perspective, and we touched on this a little bit last week, that you want to try to keep yourself protected so that way you can enjoy sort of your twilight years and not go out injury laden and see your performance decline in a fashion of which we've seen many other superstars where it's happened to them. One of the most notable injury laden huge talents to the league when you saw the end of his career just kind of mothball out, Kobe Bryant.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that LeBron doesn't want to end it like that. However, I do want to go back to what you said. If you mess with the king and you don't get that title with only all the benefits, there are definitely some things that you have to take on your shoulders when you are given such a title. And I'm sorry to say, but if you want to be talked about in terms of the Jordans and the Bryants and the Johnsons and the Birds, the Kareems, and the list goes on, it is all in all disappointing. Now, this I definitely want to take Charles' side on this, because I definitely understand that there's a platform for it, but if you want to talk about you're obviously not a king if you have to go around GMs, if your GM, if you have to go around your coach, if you have to go around the front office and just go directly to the media and almost blatantly say, we don't have enough help. Woe is me. I'm not getting what I want. That is it, and it's gonna sound very, I'm just a millennials tweeting this out, but LeBron sounds like this is a crybaby, because it's not that we're asking you to suck it up, we're asking you to do better. I mean, if you are this great talent, I mean, great kings, great leaders have great followers behind them. They have people doing great things behind them. I mean, if LeBron is leading this team, then there should be no doubt that there only needs to be a little bit of help. What LeBron has been asking for is a complete overhaul of this team. He not only wants to take over this team, he wants to have complete control of their salary, how much they're getting paid. He wants their salaries to reflect their work ethic, their results on the game floor. And if he's going to take on all of this responsibility, then he gets all the blame as well. So this is just coming down to him not being good enough. And the whole league considers LeBron James good enough to carry a team. Time and time again, they'll say whatever team that LeBron James goes to turns from a lottery team to a playoff and or championship contender team. Point blank, point simple. No one talks about it. Could be LeBron and the other guys, and they'll still be headed to the finals. I mean, we know about the finals of which LeBron first took the Cavs to the NBA Finals against the Spurs.
No.
I just don't understand how you can sit there and say, I need help. Just tell the truth. I'm getting old. I'm no longer as good as I used to be. You're probably have to pass on the title to someone else that can carry it. We need more people. We need more than what we got. But sitting there going through the media, you can't be called the king anymore. You can't be called the best. And I definitely side with Charles. I mean, Charles, and keep in mind, this is, no one's going to like this, but this is Barkley's job.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Barkley's job is to, no one else on that panel does this. Maybe Kenny Smith every now and then. Shaq is there mostly for comedic relief. He talks about big men every now and then, but Kenny the Jet Smith is he'll take on a little bit of this, and he'll be critical of plays and a little bit, but not like Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is the fifth man in the room. If you're looking at a whole panel of people that are agreeable, the fifth man is there to disagree, not just to play devil's advocate, but to show that, hey, there are holes in whatever argument you're making. There are detriments to whatever you believe is perfected. Something is just not right here, and Charles does that consistently across the board with everybody. LeBron James, who Charles Barkley has had tons of accolades for, has said tons of positive things
and negative things too. Don't forget.
But it has been even kill. When LeBron is doing well, Charles Barkley says great things about LeBron, and he expects him to do more because, like the rest of us, he gives him the title. He's like, you know what? He's doing a lot better. But at the same time, when you're doing bad, Charles is going to call you out for it. And they're talking on other shows about whether Charles Barkley cares or not. I'm sure Charles Barkley cares, but it is still his job when he's on TV to give that part of the conversation that specifically says, hey, you know what? This isn't the, hey, let's all go praise or feel sorry for LeBron hour. Let's really talk about the basketball part of this. And the basketball part of it is this, plain and simple. LeBron James isn't the king anymore. He isn't doing king-like stuff. He doesn't have his team following him, and it's his fault.
Jesus Christ, so poetic. Oh my God. Anyway, how do I recover from that? It's like you were reading that from a script. No, but like I feel like with LeBron, comparing him to the other greats isn't that useful in a certain way because, the media now is so different from the media back then, right? The media, in quotes, and LeBron has been in our lives for a ridiculously long time. 03. Even before that, and it's been nonstop criticism of the guy, and the guy is only human, and it's kind of like it's kind of like when you're hungry, you get hangry, right? You get a little bit more on the edge, right? So yes. I think for LeBron right now is that he's saying, lay off me a bit. Like, I am a great player. I'm one of the best players ever. And as he said, he's represented the league only in positive light. Like, aside from like the basketball things, like the decision and going back to Cleveland and all that stuff, like LeBron has never had a real controversy. He's never put the league in a position where they have to defend LeBron and saying like, oh, he's actually not that bad of a person. LeBron is kind of like John Cena, if you throw in wrestling, a guy who embodies everything good, more or less, about the company that he performs for, and does a lot more things outside the company, to help I guess society be a better place. Like LeBron does a lot of charity work, and he really cares about Akron, where he's from, right? So I think a lot of it now is just him reaching a point of just like, feeling that no matter what he does, that he'll be criticized. And, I don't, there's the whole going through the media thing, but I also think that we want athletes to be more candid because, we're always like, oh, why can't athletes say more things about how they really feel? Why does every interview feel so, like every interview is like, oh yeah, we played hard, they played hard, we got some lucky breaks and we won. Hooray. Like LeBron's actually saying his feelings for once, and when he does that, he gets criticized again. So I feel like maybe he shouldn't have gone through the media. Maybe he shouldn't have, said things, but I don't think he regrets them because, like, what are they going to do, right? How are they going to punish him? They're going to fine him? They're going to suspend him?
Hold that thought right there, because now you're saying that, yeah, LeBron should not have decided to pull the Cleveland Reporter aside listed off everything about Charles Barkley that has been controversial throughout his career.
Which is hilarious, by the way.
Shouldn't all of it true, but should not have brought those things up and try to discredit Charles Barkley, maybe as a person, as an athlete, maybe his career now. Should not have gone through the media to do that. Probably should have said, came up to him, possibly man to man, and said, "Hey, Charles, I know that you got a job to do, but could you lay off a bit?" Which I'm probably sure that sounds nice, but that doesn't change the fact that this is the second time that LeBron has had a problem with someone that may be in the organization, maybe not directly in the organization, and he's decided to speak out about directly or indirectly. So I'm wondering if maybe that he's had too much power. He's had in the lineup too much because, again,
yeah. But then you also see like his team losing to the Dallas Mavericks. Like they fall apart when he's not playing. So I think that's just, guys, like, can't you like draft decent players? Like, why are you drafting Joe Harris and Kay Felder?
Now this wasn't an issue when they were winning. Again, we're talking about two things. We're talking about consistency of play here.
Mm-hmm.
Not by the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is consistent of play from LeBron James. We're talking about consistent criticism by Charles Barkley. Consistent, that's the key here. Because the two things have gone hand in hand. We have consistently criticized players like LeBron James throughout their career. We've consistently criticized Kobe Bryant throughout his career. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan was consistently criticized throughout his career. Magic Johnson was lit up in '92 when he announced that he was HIV positive because
because that's more of a societal problem.
But it doesn't change the fact that it was consistent. And what I'm saying to you is, maybe he shouldn't have gone to the media. No, if he had an issue, he's going to continue to have issues. That's what happens when you are in the spotlight. You have to take the good and the bad. Life is not going to be a bowl of cherries. And this is something this is coming from someone that views LeBron James not just as an athlete, not just as a professional, but someone as a black man in one of the most colored leagues of the Big Four in the United States and possibly the world. Something that is most internationally recognized in a time when those of color are being more scrutinized than ever. I'm saying that maybe isn't good enough for me. He should have done better. He should have at least expected this. And yeah, okay, he's angry, but we all get angry at times. We don't lash out at people that are simply scrutinizing us. Maybe we'll come up and talk to them personally and say, "Hey, lay off." But there is at no point any excuse to sit there and say, "Hey, you know what? You did XYZ over in Vegas. You weren't faithful. You weren't much of a man," and try to tear down that person personally. Charles Barkley never tore down LeBron James personally. What he did was break down the holes.
Because there's nothing that Barkley could have brought up. He couldn't be like, "Oh, LeBron's such a great father. Damn it." Again, like LeBron has the advantage because he never has done anything wrong, aside from maybe screwing his hometown, right?
But even still, even with that was still a basketball thing, and maybe the media part of it was a little bit something that could have been brought up. But I'm saying Charles Barkley never did that, and the reason why Charles Barkley never did that is because he consistently scrutinized the complaint of LeBron James that he needed more talent on his team. And the argument that Charles Barkley just simply brought to the table is, you don't need more talent. You are good enough to carry this team. You'll be okay. Stop complaining. You got what you got. Keep going. Keep pushing through it. You'll get more eventually. Just now's not a really good time. And honestly, Charles Barkley is right. Charles Barkley is wholeheartedly right, because this is the same thing that Cleveland did last season at the same exact time. The month of January just hasn't been friendly. From December to early February has not been friendly to any East Coast team at all. Why?
True.
It's cold, travel, running slow. Maybe politics has something to do with it. I don't know. It's getting closer to the trade deadline. Some players are playing out of their minds. Some players don't want to be traded at all, so they kind of take a back seat. A lot of things that go on, and it definitely has affected teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, who showed that even early on in the season last year, they weren't winning as much, and look at where it got them, championship ring. It's going to come to him. The problem is that he is being completely impatient, and he's trying to change things too quickly at a time when he already has all the power to make change. If he could just continue to be consistent and not go to the media like he has in the past 12 years of his career, then we don't have anything to talk about.
I mean, yeah, I love the fact that he went to the media just because it's a fun topic, and you're just like, yo, NBA, this is why this is the best league.
I mean, keep in mind,
just like you would never have this in the NFL. Like, nobody would ever be like, Chris Sims is an idiot.
This is totally true. I mean, Richard Sherman came out, had some media stuff a few years ago.
Yeah, but I feel like Richard Sherman is just like, kind of like Chuck, where you just like poke people just because you can. Like, just want to poke you. Just want to see how you react. Just like little jabs at you, and then when they finally like come back at you, you're like, "Whoa, I didn't do anything."
Well, let's get something out here. I want to ask you a question. So, had Charles Barkley decided to go along with let's call it the Ferris wheel, if he had decided to get on the ride, we'll call it the LeBron James ride. The LeBron James wheel of awesome. Go get your tickets now. No matter how slow or how fast the ride goes, it's the same consistent ride you'll see all the time. And the ride has music playing in the back of whatever music Cleveland is bumping right now. To the lyrics, LeBron James is great, king of the land. Charles Barkley gets on that ride. And we all get on that ride with them. And we know exactly how much fun we're going to get out of this ride because we've been on it before. True. How much more likely are you willing to go back to that same ride after you rode it the first time?
Yo, if it's a great ride, then I'm going back.
If. But there are detriments to that.
Well, I mean, no, but I think LeBron's point now with the two of the seats in my ride are like not functioning properly. So I need somebody to come in and help me fix the seat until those guys get back.
See, although LeBron James, yeah, okay, they have an empty roster spot right now with J.R. Smith being injured, and they might have another one with another player being injured. And like you said, Kevin
and Chris Anderson. Britney.
Yes. And so now what we're talking about, they may cut one guy out the roster just to make room for another one. And now sources are saying that the Cavs are having a free agent practice,
it's best.
which is neither here nor there. That's for another story and another time.
No. But do you know who's actually a part of that thing? Mario Chalmers. Lance Stephenson.
Let's go ahead
and Kirk Heinrich.
Okay, so if we want to talk about this right now, if you want to give some merit to LeBron James' comments, with those three, period, the fact that Lance Stephenson is even a consideration,
yes,
even slightly. If you had Vegas odds, the fact that you decided to put one nickel on Lance Stephenson making the team, that takes out all the merit of this conversation. This guy has had memes made of him, has went from superstar phenomenon almost Linsanity level
True.
to subpar performance in one contract year. 1 year. And you're telling me, and you're considering this guy to be more help
Yes.
to your team?
Okay, just imagine how great would it be if, like, Game 7, Warriors, Cavs, LeBron's trying to get the shot, can't get it, passes it to Lance Stephenson, buries the three, wins the championship. Like, imagine how insane that would be. Like, NBA Twitter would die, I feel like.
See, now what we're talking about, we're not even talking about basketball anymore.
Nah,
we're just making the fantasies, and that's the difference in between the commentary from Charles Barkley and the talk from LeBron James. LeBron James is trying to build fantasy so that way when he goes out, he will be the untainted king of basketball. Charles Barkley is saying, play basketball first.
Yeah, but I mean, I just feel like the argument of, oh, do your job, LeBron, just play basketball, is kind of defeated by the fact that he's playing a crap ton of minutes. He's doing his job. And I feel like part of doing his job is helping his team win. And if he feels like helping his team win is getting a playmaker, then he's still doing his job.
Now, see, that's one. Now,
plus, like, it worked out in the end. He got Mario Ramos back.
But we're talking about one side of the conversation, though. We're talking about just LeBron saying that he needs help. What about the other side of the conversation where LeBron James decided to go back at Charles Barkley?
Well, yeah, but like, if you keep on jabbing somebody, if you're like in a boxing match and you keep on jabbing somebody, eventually you're going to get punched back.
I personally don't blame Charles Barkley for keep jabbing at LeBron James, because if you go into a boxing gym, if you go into a boxing gym, what do you expect to see?
Yeah, but it's also like, why question his, like, whether he wants to win or whether he wants to compete, where he's like doing it every night.
This is what I'm talking about. You go into a boxing gym, you expect to see some punching bags, you expect to see some speed bags, some jump ropes, you expect to see some heavy mitts, some speed mitts, some pads. You expect to see some variety.
Yeah.
Now, pretend that this boxing gym is called ESPN. ESPN consistently, despite whatever's going on with the Cleveland Cavaliers, or sometimes even the Warriors, despite how good or how crappy they're doing, despite whatever LeBron James is saying, if he's having a good day, a bad day, a rainbow day, a black and white day, they are going to continue to shove the Cleveland Cavaliers down your throats as the game to see.
Yeah. Well,
so, of course, when you are a basketball broadcaster and you are told as a broadcaster you have to have points about the game of the week, which is going to be either a Warriors game or a Cavs game, you have nothing else to talk about except for LeBron James. So if LeBron James wants to get out of the limelight, we can head west. We got about 20 teams. We got about 20 teams out here that no one's talking about right now.
Sacramento Kings. Yes. Drama.
Okay. LeBron James teams up with Boogie Cousins to fight the league.
I mean, speaking of fantasy, that would be fantastic.
I wouldn't like it. Braun decided to play football instead of basketball in a basketball game. Sacramento Kings win their first title ever. Brings it back to Arco Arena. Maloof brothers decide not to sell and move to Anaheim. We're sticking around for another 20 years. We're not going to win 1, but 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Boogie Cousins is looking at LeBron James like, what? Now you just locked me into this team for another 20 years.
Exactly.
I'm sure that DeMarcus Cousins would probably look at that whole deal and say, now I have to stay. I'm perpetually locked in basketball purgatory for the rest of my life. Thank you, LeBron James. That's how that would go down. They would win a championship, and their previous, because he would no longer be the star of the team, but their previous star would not be happy about it. He would get his ring and he would walk away unhappy. And it would be Sacramento's second ring, by the way.
Boogie would be unhappy?
Boogie would be unhappy.
Well, he's always unhappy, so, you know.
I don't think he's always unhappy. I think
A
he's just
lot
been
of
in
times he's
Sacramento too long. He's been in Sacramento too long. He needs to go. But back to my main point is that, again, consistency is all I'm saying, and Charles Barkley has been consistent throughout this entire back and forth conversation. Now he gets to add one more player to a list of players that don't like him because he's been consistently critical of them. He doesn't let up. He hasn't been wishy-washy like Phil Jackson has been with Carmelo Anthony.
Now, well, I don't want to talk Knicks. I just want to see them burn. No.
He hasn't been back and forth like Dan Gilbert has about LeBron James.
That's true.
He hasn't been hidden in the closet like Pat Riley has been about the whole coaching staff. Let's get real. Charles Barkley has been consistent. LeBron James, I know I sound like an old head. Suck it up and play ball.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I just want to see where this goes. Like, I just want to see LeBron, like, all-star game, just like run into center court, call out Chuck. So get down here.
I like the end of LeBron James quote where he says, "You know what my road schedule games are.
Yep,
You know where I'll be.
Yep.
Come see me. Cash me outside."
That can go two ways. Either we see the Instagram post of them shaking hands, or like, you know, them taking a selfie together, or a World Star video.
Cash me outside. How about that?
Exactly.
I can just see it now. One of the few games that Charles Barkley is going to be talking about on TNT. LeBron James is going to be there at the end of the game after a great win, and they're just going to sit them next to each other. And they're just going to be staring at each other like Charles Barkley and Shaq do. Either there's going to be a great fight, LeBron James is going to do exactly what we all think he's going to do and suck it up and move on. And I think he'd be the better person for it if he just lets it go. Because he does have some merit to it. And this is me, again, being me. Charles Barkley is done playing basketball. He will never be in basketball shape for the rest of his life. LeBron James, and this was talked about earlier, LeBron James is going to talk about Charles Barkley's golf swing and said, that's your whole career summed up right there.
Oof.
That's what I would have said. But
Christ, you should not be like, media should just not go to you.
yeah. I mean, if it were me, I mean,
like Apollo roast Charles Barkley again.
The roast of Barkley, part 2, featuring hitting the hardcourt. I'll talk to our agent about that. Just
a solo pod of you just roasting Barkley.
Let me a straight 30 minutes of halftime talk of how of all the ways that Charles Barkley should be roasted for.
True.
Speaking of roasting and team on the hot seat, we have a little bit of time here, so luckily we can approach it. And like I said, we're not touching on anything on the West Coast here because the West Coast it's freezing, it's rainy, but the teams are playing nice.
Like there's no drama in the West.
Minus Dallas beating San Antonio, but that's a different story.
Yeah, but like there's all the dramas in the East. It's wonderful.
And Chicago.
Yes.
Wow. After Kobe Bryant leaves, and now we're just worried about. I guess we can touch a little bit on the West Coast because I want to make this parallel. Kobe Bryant leaves the Lakers, and it's a sad day. It's like we lost a friend. He leaves a great letter. The team is in this weird state now where they kind of know how to play, but they don't know how to play together. They don't know how to finish games, but it's not horrible. I mean, people are talking about, what should the Lakers do now? And they're talking about trading. And, you're talking about a team that's really quick, which is really amazing. On the flip side, you go to Chicago. Chicago finally got rid of Derrick Rose, established Jimmy Butler as the alpha dog. Then they bring Dwayne Wade back home. They lose Pau Gasol to the San Antonio Spurs, another West Coast team. Just gonna toss that in there. And now, and then they also bring in Rajon Rondo, saved them from Sacramento. Good job.
Why?
And this is supposed to be this three-headed dragon that, honestly, if you really looked at that lineup of Rondo, Butler, and Wade in the backcourt, it wasn't really going to work out as well as we had hoped.
Yep.
Would have been nice having some Rondo dimes to both sides of the wing, just being like, let me just pick an assist real quick. But of course, that didn't work out so much. And now we have this split of 2 versus all y'all.
Yeah.
2 versus all y'all. Jimmy Butler has decided to team up with Dwayne Wade in a Flash plus, I don't know what Jimmy Butler's superpower would be or what superhero he would mimic.
Something to do with working really hard.
Hard.
Stamina man. I don't know.
In the Steel. Steel's an actual superhero. Let's call him Steel. Yeah, yes. Legit. Steel. Steel.
Wait. That was just like a clear divide between like our ages. You're like Steel. I'm like, what?
There's a little bit of comic, no pun intended, comic relief there. Yes, Steel. Will's a hammer. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you have 2 guys, and there is a huge divide between him and the rest of the team. And Rajon Rondo defends the young guys on his team.
Yes.
Rajon Rondo doesn't speak much.
If at all.
And when he does, it's very short, very focused. The entire time that he was on Boston, he was like, I need help, and he was doing great. And then they brought in the 2 guys, and he absorbed it. He took all the criticism from Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and got a ring out of it. And he used that as an example. 2 guys versus the team. Is someone getting shipped here, Fonz?
Shipped out?
Is someone getting shipped out?
I mean, well, that brings up the whole where will Butler go? Does he go to the Celtics, which I would love? Please make it happen, Danny Ainge. Simply because I want the East to be even more dramatic. But I don't know. Like I feel like you can't predict what the Bulls front office is going to do because they kind of suck.
Well,
doing their job.
I guess that was the most amazing thing about this whole offseason for Chicago. They didn't really get better.
Yeah,
they got some talent, but they didn't get better. They didn't get perpetually worse because you really just based off the East is really just based off of the Cavaliers and then whoever else can get lucky enough to go on a hot streak.
Raptors.
But it's not. But after maybe you could put the Raptors as a consistent number 2.
Yeah.
Boston has been in there from a 3 to a 5 for the last few years, so you could say that they've been consistent. But it's been more based off of how many times did they play the Cavs, how many times they can win against the Cavs.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, the Bulls didn't get worse. They definitely didn't get better.
Yeah, but
But you're right. Everything about them has been a question mark. Well, I was going to say the biggest question mark that I've had is who decided to say that Wade needed to come in and practice. Please hold the Allen Iverson quote. Hold the Allen Iverson quotes. I can feel it. Everyone that's listening to this is going to be saying at the same time. Context. Dwayne Wade is 30 million years old. Okay? His flashness has been passed on to other flashes. He has junior flashes coming up. His wife now speaks up for him on social media. Okay? And yes, I'm still mad that he married one of my vixens, Gabrielle Union.
Ooh.
That's another.
Ooh, okay, so yeah, so this is personal.
But yeah, it's personal. I mean, keep in mind, Dwayne Wade has been my favorite player. I modeled some of my basketball game after him, but it doesn't change the fact that he stole my woman.
Oof.
Shouts out to the Wade Union family. Anyway, you
But once
have
again, difference in age. I'm just like, yeah, cool, Gabrielle Union. You're like, she's my woman.
age ain't nothing but a number, black of the berry. But I'm saying, like, you're asking a guy who, I mean, are you asking him to be in practice? I'm wondering if, because from the other side of things, the rookies are saying that Dwayne Wade doesn't practice enough. And I'm wondering, like, does he need to be in there working on this jump shot that he's already perfected over the years? Does he need to be working more on plays? Does he need to be working more on executing? Because he has been doing that. When Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade take somewhat like 70% of the team's shots, make about 50% of those, so you're looking at about 35%, give or take, but go for 72 points and you guys barely make up the other 20, who really needs to practice?
True.
I'm wondering if this is another case of just shut up and play.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also like from the perspective of Butler and Wade, it's like, oh, you got a coach, you fired Tom Thibodeau and stuff, who Butler loved, and then you bring in Fred Hoiberg, a guy who is a pace and space guy, like supposed to be like very innovative on offense, yada yada yada. Okay, so you do that, and who do you bring in as our point guard?
Rajon Rondo
and Michael Carter Williams.
Yeah,
basically Rondo Jr.
Yeah,
but worse.
Yeah.
So like, what are they? Okay, so what are we supposed to do? You want us to play harder? You want us to like? They made some decent moves, like Robin Lopez, solid center. That's all as you can get. But what else? Nikola Mirotic and Doug McDermott haven't really been that great. They haven't developed that much. I mean, McDermott is probably better than people thought. He's not Jimmer, but taller, essentially. He can actually survive in the NBA. But you're asking them to do so much, and you're not helping them by giving them somebody who doesn't enhance their talents. We know what Wade and Butler and Rondo are, and everybody saw this. They don't mesh. Well,
so is this another case then of, is this a LeBronism?
Of what? Just go and play?
No, is this on the other end? Is this
yeah, are they like trying to get their way by speaking to the media?
Do they need more help? Are we citing?
It's not that they need more help. It's just that the help should have been better. But then, like, Wade also isn't, completely indefensible.
That's the same thing that LeBron was saying, though.
Yeah, but because Wade doesn't really put in all the effort every night. Like, he doesn't really run back on defense, as Hassan pointed out before. So young guys can be like, yeah, we know you're great. We know that you're helping us on offense and stuff, but we're not as. I feel like they could argue that we're not as talented as you. Yeah, because Wade is one of the most naturally gifted players we've ever seen, and so if you're Denzel Valentine, you're like, I will never be as fast as you. I will never have the basketball mind that you do, and then I see you, jogging back on defense. Why should I see you as a leader?
Because for this and this only. For the number of years that I've played pickup basketball in my life, never have I seen I've seen it happen one time, but I've never seen an older person, because I play with females too. I've never seen an older person run back on defense.
Well, yeah, but then if he criticizes their effort, then they can be like, well, how about you?
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah.
Why don't you catch me outside?
Exactly.
How about
that is a running theme of this episode. It's like drama. How about that?
How about that? Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up for now. It is just halftime for us. We may be catching you with a full court later this week. and depending on Fonz's schedule,
Yep. Got classes.
I will be out enjoying the other one sport of the Big Four. So we may be getting a little bit of podcast action from Southern California. We'll see. But for
What's happening?
oh yeah,
What?
I'm leaving on a jet plane, and I won't be back until next week. So we may have a couple of guys on the team picking this back up later this week. But for now, I guess we can just kind of sit back and see if Barkley versus LeBron is going to turn into a cage fight sponsored by Floyd Mayweather.
Oh my God. Like, make that the undercard to the Mayweather-McGregor fight? Yes.
Although it would probably be sponsored by 50 Cent, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And then
Whoever
we
has
have Chris Brown versus Soulja Boy. Oh man. Oh. Once again, difference in age.
No, I mean I know who, but every time I hear that as a card, I just think who. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see how things develop this week. If there is a big story that we have to get to, we definitely will address it later on this week. So tune back in Thursday. Appreciate all you guys that have been listening in. And if you ever want to download the podcast, please find me on Twitter at Follow Apollo. My name is Joshua, aka the man with 1,000 nicknames that don't actually exist. Signing off. Thanks for joining in.
See ya.